My name is Anthony Petro. I'm an assistant professor of religion and women's gender and sexuality studies at Boston University. This is my fifth year at the university, and my research looks at the history of religion in the United States. The pro-life movement really taking effect in the 1970s, especially following the 1973 Roe versus Wade Supreme Court case that legalized abortion. So it's not until the second half of that decade that you start to see conservative Protestant opposition joining Catholic opposition to form the pro-life movement. And you can even look at major Protestant denominations like the Southern Baptist Convention, the SBC, which is the largest evangelical Protestant denomination in the United States. You can look at their denominational statements about abortion, and in the early 70s, and even in 73 and 74, they will say things like, abortion is not a good thing, but we think it should be allowed if it protects the emotional, psychological, or physical well-being of the mother. Right? So that's a pretty moderate stance, right? And then slowly over the course of the 1970s, that language starts to change. So to say, in cases where it benefits the psychological and bodily health of the mother, then it's okay. Then in cases where it impacts the bodily health of the mother, so emotional and psychological reasons are falling out, until in the late 70s they say, no, we oppose all abortions. So you can actually track the evangelical opinion changing on abortion as the pro-life movement takes force. And in the election for Ronald Reagan in 1980, that was the first election that really brought theologically conservative evangelical Protestants into the fold of the Republican Party. Before the 1980s, most evangelical Protestants, especially those living in the southern U.S., voted Democratic. And they switched in 1980 under Reagan, largely because of his conservative stances on issues like abortion. So certainly since the late 1970s, abortion has become a political issue, as anti-abortion policies have been aligned with the Republican Party, and there are a large number of evangelical and Catholic voters for whom this is the central issue that they're voting on. So Planned Parenthood has been a key character in this debate in public for a long time, and even though they've been very careful about how they use various kinds of funding, right? So a lot of the debate with Planned Parenthood comes down to ideas of public funding, right? So the idea is that groups like Planned Parenthood get funding grants from the government, and the question is, a lot of people don't want that funding from the government to be used to provide abortions. And so Planned Parenthood has been very careful about this, to say that, look, the funding we get from the federal government is used for other kinds of services, not for abortion. I know there have been stories about what they're using the money for and the idea of them selling fetuses and things like this. I know that they've not, as far as I know, they've not done anything that's run afoul of actual law. And I think they've been pretty open about what they've been doing. So all that information is out there, but it's just buried in a lot of misinformation.